Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to play some quick games. So we're going to join this bullet arena that only has a little bit of time left. So we probably don't have any chances of winning, but it's still going to be instructional on how we're going to play quickly. So we're going to make pre-moves when we can, and we're also going to try not to think too much. And we're just going to be looking out for the biggest threats. Here's the threat. Okay, I'm just going to give up this pawn, don't care too much. This could actually, even though it's probably bad for white, there's potential that we could see some counterattacks happening, so it's definitely not over by any stretch. Okay. Even though, yes, this probably was bad for white, things are going to get really complicated for my opponent really quickly. Also note that this could have even more repercussions. Just need to apply some more pressure here. I'm not going to think too much, just keep my king safe. It's threatening a checkmate, so we need to answer this. Alright, not going to think for too long. That should win a piece. It's threatening another piece, but I've got another pin here, so this isn't quite going to do the trick. And then he's going to have to come here, so we're trying to predict where our opponent will go. It's going to be important so that we can continue to try and move fast. Trying to think about what I'm going to do next. So this piece is not really active. Definitely want to get that guy active at some point. Trying to stay out of trouble, make simple moves. Okay. If he captures here, then I can. Okay, now we probably need to move this guy, or maybe we can just capture this guy. Just pick up the queen. Now we have a really simple winning position. Should be able to move really quickly here. And we got more than enough time. We got 1 minute, so we're chilling right now. Simple threat. Remember that checks you can pretty safely pre-move, so still pretty good. Here's a checkmate threat. Bishop guards b7. Is there a finish here? Then queen, and then here should do the trick. Okay, so objectively, I actually play that opening as the black pieces that we played, but yeah, I was still able to play some simple moves and then sort of counterattack there. Playing some simple moves here. I'm going to be thinking about this square. We'll go ahead and exchange. This game, I think we'll be safe enough actually, even though this looks a little bit silly. I think we'll be safe. A-file is definitely going to be one that we want to keep. We don't want our opponent to just have the A file without me saying something about it. I would like to keep this guy, but we just can't spend too long on any one move. That would be the biggest mistake, is just spending too much time on any one move. Okay. Come back over and prepare. Yeah, that was probably a bit of a mistake on my part to allow this. This move, it's kind of annoying. Okay, and this knight actually is sort of trapped here. This was not ideal. He could probably at least force a draw, but maybe have something better. Okay, I need to answer this. This is definitely not going in my favor. Okay, and then he's trying to apply some more pressure. So what I'm trying to do is at least think of how I can get back into this game. So my opponent doesn't have like that safe of a king either. So just trying to think about that. Now this is pretty good. So threatening capture here, threatening this. Pawn is good, but it's not everything. So it's probably more important to keep up the temp here. In a short game, we want to make sure we keep up the temp. That should really help us a lot, so I'm going to ignore this pawn. I really want to just cause the most problems that I can. Unfortunately, I don't see a way to cause tons of more problems, but here's a problem. So if you can force your opponent to think, then they're going to have a bad time. So it's definitely one way to go about things. Probably should have just captured my opponent's rook. That was really, really silly. This should be a pretty easy win. Yeah, he has to go here. We're going to check, and then we just do a simple checkmate. Okay, so again, yeah, that game didn't really go my way. But we found a way to force our opponent to think. So in this case, I'm going to play a slightly uncommon opening. So that will hopefully throw our opponent off, force them to think a little bit more. Anytime that you can force your opponent to think a lot, then that's going to be good. Having a space advantage is also really nice in this, because, again, if you can force your opponent to think, which will usually be the case, then that's going to give you an advantage. That was silly, and there's not really many ways out of this one. Okay. So we're just going to continue to develop. Even though we are again playing some really silly openings, we're not going to lose hope because my opponent doesn't have that much time on the clock. We're going to keep up the temp. We're not going to be that concerned with the material. We need to find a way to open the position. Gotta find a way. So it's probably going to be d4. Some sort of way to open things up. Fortunately, I can't really attack my opponent's queen. Yeah, this was a mistake. It's going to allow... Now I have c5, so it's still I need to find a way. My opponent might be able to castle. I'm going to give up another pawn here just so that I can try and confuse him a little bit. So giving up all the pawns, totally ripping the center completely open. This should help us at least gain some practical chances. This will at least give my opponent opportunities to make mistakes. And that's really what we need. If we had just allowed my opponent to lock down the center, then we would have 0 chances. This was good because it blocks c5. I'm going to find some sort of way to get my pieces active. My opponent's done a really good job here, though, to try and limit the amount of counterplay that I can use. So we've sacrificed tons of material, but still, my opponent's totally not out of the woods yet, which is good for me. Unfortunately, he can get here, which is kind of a bummer, but at least we were going to open the file. Okay, so we're going to do everything that we can, try and make my opponent feel the heat and make him think. I don't really want to give this guy up. I'm just going to wheedle my way in. I've got 3 attacks, he's got 3 guards here. D5. Whoop! I accidentally made a pre-move there. Does this not win something? Maybe it does not. Okay, that's unfortunate. Don't really want to trade, so I'm going to say no thank you. This is a possibility, so I'm always having this in the back pocket. Make sure that you have some sort of plan to continue the attack. 3 attacks here. Is that going to be good enough? Maybe not. Okay, so he still can't get here. So he's trying to make me think. So now I'm a little bit on the defensive, but I have regained some material. So that was helpful. Now he can maybe play this. So yeah, he could do this, and then it appears that, wow, okay, he can actually get, no, I think I'm still okay. This rook is guarding d5, so this bishop can't come in. So he's really low on the clock, so really not the best played game, but I think we should probably be able to win this one. I'm just going to pre-move this, since he probably will attack. Get our king towards the center. I'll of course need to advance this guy. He left this pawn hanging. It's helpful to me. Really important to move fast here. It would be important to hold this pawn. He's going to move his king. Oh, he didn't. His king to g3. Now he moves his king to g3. He has to move his king probably. And we're probably just going to have to flag him down. But he just doesn't have enough time. So we made him think enough to the point and play an unexpected move. He was probably expecting the check. So that's going to force him to move his bishop. So just playing these really unexpected moves is going to be really annoying for our opponent. Oops, okay. That was terrible. But yeah, we played unexpected moves, even though they were terrible, and that resulted in a win. Hopefully we can get a cleaner game here. So let's test it out. Pre-moving our captures, as we should. we're just going to get all of our pieces out, have a pretty normal game, not run into any trouble. And we'll go for this. Capture them, capture away from the center so that our piece will have a reasonable way to get out here. Okay, so I want to do that. So we need a main focus, make sure that this guy doesn't get stuck into some sort of really awkward and bad position. So to do that, we will play e5 capture. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. We'll also have this in some lines. Can't capture here because then my rook will be overworked. Oh wow, actually I did not think this through. Bummer. Okay. So yeah, this game is not going to go well because we spent a lot of time just dilly-dallying, so clearly this is not going to work out well. My opponent can trade queens. And now he has a very simple position that's winning. So yeah, clearly we just sort of had a brain freeze right there. And things are not going to go our way, probably, unless my opponent makes some mistakes. He's really deep in the tank here when he should just be not concerned about doubling his pawn. Doesn't matter. You gotta just move. So just like I did, there's probably some better moves that we could have played, but we needed to just put something on the board. Just gonna say no thank you to these trades, even though it doesn't look like an amazing move. And then all of a sudden, he's down on the clock. He's going to have some difficulties here. Tick, tick, brother. He can try to advance his A pawn. Meantime, I'm going to try to advance my C pawn. It's going to be really difficult for him to hold on here because I just have such an enormous time advantage. I'm going to play a slightly unexpected move. Yeah, that wasn't good. Pushes king up, then he might have a problem here. Okay, so again, another pretty terrible game. Need to sharpen up, so let's try to do that. Let's try to play a pretty clean game here without making some terrible mistakes. Okay, I'll totally accept all of these pawns. I'm just going to give one back. Try and help develop some of my pieces. There's no way that this works. I'm totally gonna take everything here. What in the world is going on here? Can't really give up that many pawns without paying some sort of price. Now I just have so many pawns that I just don't really care. Now that he moved his knight out of the way, now I'm actually going to take. Now even though he gave up all these pawns hoping to gain some sort of development advantage, that's just non-existent. So now actually I want to open the position. I want to open up the h5 square and apply more pressure. So this is definitely going to be some issues here. Okay, so this plays some slightly unexpected moves. That's really good in Bullet. It's going to make him think a lot. And guarding this guy, threatening all these horrible problems. I'm still doing okay on the clock, which is really nice. Okay, so he just dropped his queen because I'm just making him think too much. Another thing, just for instructional purposes, I'm just going to make a lift just to lessen the chances that something really silly happens. So that can definitely be one way to try and mitigate any just random silly blunders. So then I'm also threatening to trade and more. I made a silly error in time trouble, and that's going to be that. It's probably going to get checkmated in about like 4 or 5 moves. Or just immediately resign. Okay, so that was a little bit cleaner. So that's probably good enough for this video, but hopefully you found it somewhat instructional, even through a lot of the really silly mistakes that I made. So yeah, the key takeaways are to make sure that you're not taking too much time on any one move that can really sink you and make it hopeless to win a game, in this case a 2-1 bullet game. So it's also really important that we play moves that are unexpected and makes our opponent think. The more that you can force your opponent into the tank, the more that you increase your chances to win, even in a terrible position as we saw on multiple instances. So yeah, if you did find this helpful, then please drop a like, and also consider subscribing if you're not already. And I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. So long for now.